Hey guys, Fever91, and I'm bringing you a video just kind of to wrap up my whole cross-platform thing. And this one is on the console's perspective. And it's even though I kind of covered part of this in the business perspective, I think this question needs to be asked. If cross-platform play became the rule and all three major consoles had to follow it, which console would get pushed to the wayside? That's the question. Now, I definitely want you guys to give me your answers in the comments below, whether it be Nintendo's console, Microsoft's console, or Sony's console. But I'm going to give you my opinion on the matter as well, so here it is. Basically, what I think is that you have Nintendo, you have Microsoft, and you have Sony. They all have strengths, they all have weaknesses. Now, basically, if the next generation of consoles, let's just assume, for the sake of this argument, that Nintendo learns its lesson and the NX is just as powerful as every other console, or at least close to as powerful as the other consoles, so that cross-platform play runs smoothly on Nintendo's platform. All right, now you have almost erased the need to buy a console just because your friends have it. Why? Because unless you want to play the exclusives a lot with your friends, then you really have no reason to want to buy the console just because your friend has it. Now, that would mean that these consoles have to rely on their other strengths, other than the fact that we may be the most popular and we know that people want to play with their friends. That means that Sony would probably have to rely, let's just assume that Sony is still the most powerful out of the three. It would have to rely on being the best, the most powerful console out of the three and all of that, while Microsoft would maybe try to rely on Xbox Live, which Xbox Live, I think when it first came out, it was so easy and it was so great. It was like, wow, this just makes online play so easy to do. Though, for the Xbox 360, I mean, not so much for the original Xbox. I think more so for the Xbox 360. But Nintendo would have to rely basically on still having the most exclusives. So let's face it, that's one of their biggest strengths. They have the most and some of the really enjoyable exclusives. That's one of their greatest strengths, and they probably have to rely more on that. But I believe that if cross-platform play became the rule, that one console will suffer because of it. Now, which console do I think it is? I think it's Microsoft's console. Now, let me explain it. Let's just assume that NX, PS5, and the Xbox 2 come out at the same time. Now, all of them have pretty good launches. You have some loyalists who buy the consoles just because that's what they had before. You got some people who want to play Halo. They buy an Xbox 2. You got some people who want to play Uncharted. They buy a PS5. You got some people who really are into Nintendo exclusives. They buy a Nintendo NX. So after the loyalist and after the people who are buying the consoles for the exclusives, there is, I think, two much larger groups of people. One is a group of people who want to buy one console, basically, and they're like, all right, let me just see what my friends have, right? But we've erased that. So let's forget about that group of people. Let's go straight to the group of people who simply buy a console probably because it's either the most convenient or the most powerful. Those people buy a PS5, and they'll just play with people who have the Xbox too. Now, why do I think Xbox and not Nintendo will be the one that goes to the wayside if this ever were to happen is because that Nintendo can almost survive, I think, basically off of its exclusives alone. See, Nintendo, I believe, has so many exclusives, and each exclusive, I think, has such a huge fan base that if the NX was almost as powerful as the PS5, that the people would just like go, okay, we're still going with Nintendo, and we can play with people on PS5, those third-party games. But I feel like Microsoft, unfortunately, doesn't have, if we go by this generation, doesn't have the power of PS5 and wouldn't have the exclusive ability of the Nintendo. That's just how I think it is. And because I think Microsoft relies a lot on Xbox Live. And if you take away the need to be on Xbox Live to play with Xbox 2 owners, then that, I think, takes away Microsoft's biggest strength. And if you take that away, I think that Microsoft will lose the next generation if cross-platform play were to become a rule. And this is just my opinion. I think that Microsoft, if cross-platform play became a thing, probably has the weakest amount of other strong qualities to keep it going. While Nintendo and Sony both have plenty of other, I believe, strong qualities that will keep them going, even if people don't need to buy the same console to play with their friends for any third-party games. Anyway, that's just my opinion on the matter. To sum it all up, I think that PS5 would dominate, Nintendo would survive based on just sheer amount of exclusives, and Microsoft would, as I say, get pushed to the wayside since no one has to buy an Xbox 2 just to play with Xbox 2 owners. on third-party games. Well, that's my opinion. Why don't you guys tell me yours in the comments below? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and may God bless you all.